Good day, everyone! Previously, I have discussed about corruption and how it continues to cause damage to our country and to the lives of every Filipino. We discussed how public funds are misused, how inequality continues to grow, and how many Filipinos suffer because of greed, dishonesty, and abuse of power. But today, I want to go beyond simply discussing the problem. Today, I want to talk about our responsibility as young Filipinos. Because the real question is not only why does corruption exist? The real question is why do so many people still choose to care less and be silent despite knowing and seeing the truth? You'll know what? Corruption does not only exist and continuously exist simply because corrupt people are powerful, but because many chooses to stay silent against it instead of fighting it. And this silence fuels the corruption. Silence gives corruption space to grow. Silence makes injustice appeal normal. And if we keep on staying silent, the deeper corruption becomes rooted in the society. It's so sad to think that despite corruption being so visible, people still do not care. People still chooses to silence themselves instead of speaking up about the truth. Funny how many gets to spread false information about their neighbors so quickly. But when it comes to this kind of matter, silence is so loud. We've heard, seen, and felt it. Flood control projects, schools, bridges, highways, and other public infrastructures being poorly constructed, and some are even unfinished. And yet, people still do not question. People are still silent. Some don't even bother to think about it. Some would just even make a joke out of it. But corruption should never be something we should ignore and normalize. The moment we begin accepting dishonesty as a normal part of life is the moment we begin to lose our ability to fight against it. As one of the member of the youth, I often hear the phrase, kabataan ng pag-asa ng bayan. But how can we become the hope of our nation when we care less and stay silent while corruption and injustice continues to exist? How can we expect change when we're too afraid to speak up and question the wrong things happening in our society? I know that it's not easy because we often get told that we are too young to understand politics and national issues. But it will never be easier if we'd let those criticisms silence us, because corruption steals growth and opportunities we could get in the future. When funds intended for school projects like scholarship programs, classrooms, free books, and proper facilities are stolen, our opportunity to get better education also gets stolen. When healthcare budgets are misused, many Filipino families struggles to receive medical treatments they needed, especially the marginalized. When corruption weakens the economy, job opportunities drops, and it would get harder for us to get employed when we graduate. And this causes poverty to grow. Corruption steals opportunities from youth before we even reach adulthood. It steals the future that every Filipino deserves. And yet, many still chooses silence over raising their voices to fight against corruption. Some stay silent because they are too afraid of criticism. Others simply doesn't care and thinks that their voices are too small to matter. Some simply loses hope of the possibility of change. But history have shown us many times that real change never begins with silence. Change begins when ordinary people like us youth decide that enough is enough. Silence may feel like the right choice because it keeps us safe, yes, but it protects corruption. Silence gives more confidence to the corrupt people to continue abusing their power. Silence allows injustice and inequality to make the poor suffer more while the privileged benefit more from this twisted system. And if we too, the so-called pag-asa ng bayan, chooses silence today, then the hope of our nation for its richness to be shout out to the whole world would be kept hidden, and we will inherit the same broken system we refuse to challenge. But I believe that Filipino youth are capable of more than silence. We are living in a generation where information is more accessible than ever. We have social media, technology, and platforms that we could use as tools to educate ourselves and the others. Our voices are more powerful than we think because we could turn tables and left others in awe, uttering, "How can someone be so young yet so brave?" One conversation can change a perspective. One post can educate many people and raise awareness. One voice so courageous speaking up about the truth can inspire others to do the same. Speaking up does not always mean protesting loudly on streets. Sometimes, speaking up means refusing to spread misinformation. Sometimes it means standing against unfair treatment. Sometimes it means educating ourselves before voting. Sometimes it is being aware and curious. Sometimes it means holding leaders accountable instead of blindly defending them. And most importantly, speaking up means that you care enough, not just to ignore and turn blind eye on the problems of our country. We, the youth, the future of our nation should never underestimate our influence. Throughout history, many movements for justice and reform were led by young people who refused to stay silent and stay still while the world around them is slowly collapsing. Young people have always played an important role in shaping society because youth have the energy, courage, and the willingness to dream a better future. However, using our voices also comes with responsibility. We must only use it to speak with truth, not hatred. We must criticize with purpose, not ignorance. Fighting corruption is not about spreading negativity. It is about demanding accountability, fairness, and honesty. It is about protecting the future, not just for ourselves, but most importantly, for the future generations of Filipinos. Filipinos, we are rich in talent, intelligence, resilience, and potential. Yet despite this richness, many of us suffers because corruption and inequality continues to bury the things we deserve and worked hard for. And this future will remain buried if we continue choosing silence over accountability. For years, Filipinos were praised for resilience. We are told to smile despite hardships, to keep on surviving despite corruption and injustice. But silence alone is not enough anymore. We have worked enough. We have worked hard enough for too long already. We have suffered long enough. Every Filipinos deserve more than just bare minimum. We deserve more than simply surviving problems caused by corruptions and abuse of power. So be aware, be curious, ask questions, speak up, because those who benefit from corruption are hoping for us to remain silent, tired, and afraid. But the moment we begin to open our mouths and question them, the moment we begin caring and demanding accountability, change is possible. We have been silenced for far too long. Now is the time we speak up and raise our voices. Because if it is not now, then when? If it is not us, then who? It's not like other people from other country would do it for us. So we shall be doing it ourselves. And always remember, if we want to see change in our country, we must do something for it to happen. Because every change is the effect of an action. Mabuhay tayo, Pilipinas!